Why are so many Chinese students choosing Southeast Asia to further their studies? When people think about Chinese students studying abroad, the usual destination comes to the minds are the United States, the UK, Australia, or even Canada. For decades, these countries were seen as a gold standard for education abroad. In fact, as recently as 2024, more than 60% of Chinese students who went overseas choose one of these big four destinations. But something interesting has been happening for the past few years. More and more Chinese students are no longer looking just west. Instead, they are turning their eyes closer to home, towards Asia, and we see this number very clearly. In Malaysia, the number of Chinese students jumped from just 9,000 in the year 2019 to 47,000 in the year 2024. That's actually more than 5 times growth in just 5 years. Thailand, which used to have only 6,000 students in the year 2016, now has close to 28,000. In Singapore, half of all international students come from China. Even in Japan and South Korea, the numbers are growing rapidly. So why is this happening, and why are Chinese students who used to go to the West for education now choosing Southeast Asia or other Asian countries instead? By the way, do not forget to subscribe for more content like this. So first, let's talk about the cost and convenience. Studying in Southeast Asia is always cheaper compared to studying in the West. Tuition fee in Malaysia, Thailand, and even Singapore are often a fraction of what a student could pay in the US or the UK. The cost of living could also be lower compared to other countries. Parents and students in China see it as good value for money, or in Chinese it's called as 高性价比. But it's not about just money. Asia feels safer and more familiar to many Chinese families. In some Western countries, there have been rising anti-China sentiments, especially after COVID-19. Some Chinese families and students worry about discrimination, hate crimes, and even feeling unwelcome. In contrast, Asian countries have strong Chinese community and even share languages. That sense of familiarity and safety make a big difference. Second, the government in Asia are also actively competing for international students. Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, South Korea, and Japan all see international students as a way to grow their higher education sector and attract talent. They are not just sitting there to wait for students to come. They are offering scholarships, building universities, and even adjusting some courses. For example, some universities in Singapore are actually thinking of offering masters in Chinese, and in Thailand they are also offering bilingual, even trilingual programs where classes are taught in English and Mandarin. Many schools accept tuition payments with WeChat Pay and make it seamless for Chinese families. Singapore University are also high ranked globally, which appeals to Chinese parents who care deeply about reputation. These countries are serious about giving them a good education and future opportunities. If you look at changes inside China itself, in the past, studying abroad was something mainly for the wealthy families from the big cities or for top performing students who wanted the best education possible. But today, the students' demographic has widened. You can see students from smaller cities, rural areas, and even those who have average grades looking for opportunity abroad. So why? Because competition inside China has become very high and very tough. In fact, it's harder to get into top university in China. And even after graduating, students face high unemployment and credential inflation, which means that often you need a master or even PhD just to stand up. For postgraduate students, many find going abroad is a practical way to escape China's tough entrance exams and land a degree that is still respected. For example, lecturers and researchers in China often need a PhD to get promoted. Studying in Asia gives them a chance to achieve this at lower cost and of course with lesser stress while it's still being close to home. Fourth, if you can't ignore China Belt and Road Initiative and foreign policy, the BRI has opened doors for cooperation between China and many Asian countries. Scholarships are available for students to study in Belt and Road countries. There's also a growing demand for bilingual talents, people who understand both Chinese and local cultures. So what does all this mean for Southeast Asia? On the positive side, Chinese students bring tuition fees and boost local economy. They rent apartments, spend money on foods and travel, and sometimes even bring their families to visit. This benefits real estate, tourism, and even local businesses. So the number of Chinese students grow too quickly, it could put pressure on housing and local job markets. There are also a question of integration, whether these students will mix with the local community or stay within their own circles. And for university, there are also a risk of being seen as treating students like cash cow rather than future partners or contributors. That's why it's important for Southeast Asia to see Chinese students not just as a source of money, but as a cultural ambassador. These students can become bridge between China and the host country. They bring understanding, build trust, and open out long-term opportunities in trade, culture, and politics. So let's think about in the bigger picture. What is changing is balance. More and more Chinese families are asking, do we actually need to send our child so far away and spend so much money and face uncertainty and even discrimination when Asia offers good universities, safer environments, and even better values? So this is actually a profound shift, and it reflects not just about the choices of individual future families, but the changing world order. As Asia rises economically and politically, it's natural that its universities are also gaining influence, especially in the global level, learning, connecting, and shaping the future of China relationship with South Asia. What do you think about Chinese students in South Asia, and are you optimistic that there will be more to come? So please leave a comment down below, and if you like content like this, please don't forget to follow me, Jason Kang, so that I can make more content like this in the future. And see you in the coming videos. Bye bye.